Yeah, Chris. Okay, so Chris has a question in the chat. Can I look for a specific policy ID in the connected wallet? Yes, you absolutely can. And that's actually an assignment at the end of this module. So I'm not going to race to give you the answer to how to do that yet. I'm going to let you sweat a little bit and try to figure it out. But this is an example of something we can do together at an upcoming live coding session if anybody wants to jump into these details. Let me get you part way there, okay, and then challenge you to try to build that. The way we're going to get part way there is by first looking at a couple more React hooks. I just want you to have some background knowledge about some of these other built-in tools that React offers. And then we won't have time to go through the whole assignment today, but immediately following this lesson, there's an assignment, okay, where you always get to choose how far you want to go. Okay, so every assignment has a set of one or more projects. Sometimes those projects are required, but some of them might be optional. And we categorize things by talking about important stuff, neat stuff, and tough stuff. All right, everybody's got to do the important stuff. That's the required bit. Neat stuff we recommend taking a look at. All right, these are projects that are designed to help you learn. And then tough stuff is challenging, but to this point of connecting with new collaborators, this was a topic that we were talking about before we went live in this meeting. Tough stuff is a way that you can show the mesh team what you know and you're able to do so that you can kind of send them the message, hey, I'm serious about collaborating. The conditional rendering bit is a chance to think about the question that Chris just shared with us, right? So build a React component that displays different content if the wallet holds a certain asset. Now, there's some hints about how to do that in lesson 101.4, which we're going to look at right now. But this doesn't give you all the answers, okay? This is a really neat task that'll give you a chance to try a few things. And tough stuff, we don't provide any guidance about how to do this. We're really going to try to be less helpful. But if you want a tough challenge, this is the challenge right here. Build your own Cardano wallet component to replace the one that we're currently using. Now, when it comes to the important stuff, the step-by-step instructions are right here. So we're really trying to give you a lot of support while you work on the important stuff. And then the neat stuff and the tough stuff are always going to be a little bit less helpful as you work through that. All right, but we haven't done lesson 101.4 yet, so let's take a look. This lesson is a quick overview of all of the hooks that Mesh provides right out of the box. I know a lot of developers who are also building new hooks, and you can learn how to build your own. But for now, we're just going to look at what we have access to right away. And instead of using the template that we just built, we're actually going to use a repo that's dedicated to this course. It's the Mesh PBL student library. You'll learn more about this when you get to the assignment that follows this lesson. For now, let's just take a look at it. So I'm going to change my VS Code windows. We just created a nice little template from scratch, but what I really want to do is start with, here it is. Okay. Now I've already done these first steps of cloning the repo and changing into this directory. So I'm not going to show you how to do those, but you can just use these steps by copying and pasting them into your terminal. And if you're successful, you should have this directory right here. It looks like this, and I got to rename this. The public name is Mesh PBL Student Library, but I had a placeholder name right here. So if you're watching this video later, don't worry if you have the name Mesh PBL Student Library, where I have this name. Okay, so what do we have here? Well, there's a few things provided. And the first thing I want you to see is that in the pages directory, we have an index page that looks pretty similar to what we just built in lesson 101.3. But there's also an examples directory with some source code that you can look at on your own. And all of this is the source code that is described on this page right here. So if we read through this lesson, it says in the assignment that follows, we're going to suggest some ways that you can start to build, okay? But really, we're just trying to expose you to each of these hooks. Now, you already saw use wallet in the previous lesson, and here's some really quick boilerplate you can use. You already saw use assets in the previous lesson, and here's some quick boilerplate you can use. We can see that precisely the same code is already here. So here's use wallet. I'm going to leave that open. And here's use assets. Now, use wallet has one small part of the hint that's going to be helpful once you're starting to use conditional rendering, right? Here we have just a little bit of how conditional rendering works in React. We can say, okay, wallet has a parameter called connected. And if connected, which is a Boolean, true or false, if it's true, then write the message that the wallet is connected. Otherwise, write wallet is not connected. So if this is true, do this. Otherwise, do that. And let's go take a look at this behavior in our browser. So I'm going to run this project. This one is configured to run on localhost 3005, and it is up to date with the latest Next.js. Okay. So here we are in the Mesh PBL contributions template. The home page looks like this. It's actually pretty much the same information we were looking at just a minute ago, but a lot of the formatting has been removed. Okay, we got rid of the centered content. So now you're able to kind of look at this data structure and think about what to do with it. We also have the examples route. And I want to look at the use wallet demo as our first example. This data right here should look familiar from our prior examples. And then below that, we have this message, wallet is not connected, which is coming from what you just saw right here. Wallet is not connected. But once the wallet is connected, what's going to happen? That text ought to change. Let's make sure that it works. Okay, connected is now true. So the message says so. Great. Similar, the use assets demo. Let's jump over to this one. And this shouldn't look too surprising after the example that we just looked at. I can connect a wallet. Good. I can see my list of assets. What does the source code for this look like? It's right here. And all we're doing is we're stringifying those assets. If there are not yet assets loaded, just put up a message that says, connect a wallet to view those assets. Great. And that's covered right here in the lesson. You can copy or paste this boilerplate to anywhere, or once again, you can use the repo that's linked right here to get started. And so in the rest of this, everything's provided already. Use wallet list. Here's some boilerplate. This one actually takes, it looks at the user's browser and it looks at which wallets are installed. So if you've ever been on any dApp like a DeFi platform or a JPEG store or any other application, and you click the Connect Wallet button, often it'll show you a list of what wallets you have installed. This is a little example of how to accomplish that. So if I go over to use wallet list demo, you can see that on this browser, I only have Nami installed. But if I had other wallets, you would see other icons right here. And the reason this icon is showing up is because of this line of code right here, right? We're going to map over all of the items in this response. And for each one, we're going to display an image where the source is the icon in that item. Icon, you can see right here in the data, right? And it's a long string. It goes way off the side of my screen, okay? But this is kind of the SVG data that shows us how to draw a NAMI icon. So that's that one. Use address is a very simple hook that just provides a very quick way to get the address of the connected wallet. Use Lovelace is similar to use address. It's a very quick way just to get the number of Lovelace in the connected wallet. Remember that an ADA is equal to 1,000,000 Lovelace. So you might see that you got a really big number there, but don't get too excited. Use network finally shows us whether we're using a testnet or a mainnet wallet. Okay, so over here in NAMI, if I click on my little robot icon and I look at the settings, I can see that pre-prod is my currently connected network. But I can change that to mainnet or preview or the old testnet, and you can do the same. Okay, so if you've never switched to pre-prod before, that's how you do it. Click on the robot, go into network, and choose the network you want from the list. I'm going to stay on pre-prod for now. And when I go back to the example, I'm going to skip over the address and Lovelace examples because we're running out of time. But let's just take a quick look at the network one. Okay. So nothing else here. And by the way, there's 2 connect wallet buttons here on purpose. It's just to show you this concept that we can reuse components and that these are responsive to each other. So if I use this one, they're both going to connect and vice versa. And you can just remove this Cardano wallet line from these demos anytime you want to. Okay. Let's just use this to connect. And this says 0 is the response, and it tells me I'm connected to a Cardano testnet. Here's the source code. Use network. If network is equal to 0, write this message. If network is equal to 1, write this message. So if I go back to this wallet, okay, I can change the connection to mainnet, right? I don't have ADA on mainnet, just on testnet in this wallet. But if I refresh the page and I connect again, this time I get the number 1, and it says connected to Cardano mainnet. Okay. So that was a fast and furious overview of these hooks. You can learn more about these by clicking on any of these links here. They'll take you to the mesh documentation for the same. You can test each of these in your browser right here and learn a little bit more about how to play with them. And then, of course, we have the boilerplate provided both here, so you can copy and paste it. And all of the code you see in this lesson is available in the Mesh PBL student library, which is here on GitHub. And you've got the instructions for how to clone it locally and start to play with it.